My name is Enrique Hoyos. I am a growth and marketing, I would say, expert or person. Uh, like I cannot say like anything in Spanish that makes sense, or like I become like this Spanglish person, but like I just say like CPAs, like all these like English terms that I have no idea if they translate or not. So currently I am the head of marketing at Pexels. And for the people who don't know what Pexels is one of the biggest free photo and video stock libraries that is used by millions of people all over the world to bring their stories to life and bring products to life through that. So I started my career in agencies, and so I went to university, did marketing, like the whole business degree, took marketing, and I really chose marketing because it was the revenue generating side of business. Like it was to me the most interesting part of what a business is. So I went into that, and then the next obvious step here was an agency. Like that's kind of what the majority of people were doing. There's not a lot of local like other companies that would have bigger marketing teams. So if you wanted to get the most knowledge, it was an agency. And I started actually like as an account coordinator, which is a project manager, pretty much just like making sure like projects get done, client gets communicated properly, and everything. But then one of her name is Melissa Hughes. She was hired as the director of strategy, and this woman like completely like took my curiosity to a whole other place, because like she took me from like seeing the data and being like, oh, it's working, not working, to being like, why? The data tells you what is happening, but if you don't combine that with like the qualitative insight, you don't know why things are happening. You don't know the people behind what they're doing. You're not just like putting ads to put ads, you're like communicating to people. And I think that that's when I mean, the biggest growth of my career, but like where my mentality switched and understood that the essence of marketing is really understanding the customer, understanding what is it that people need, or like what's the problem that we're solving, to then be able to market them to them properly. And like I have a huge passion for photography. Like I've always been a person who just loves taking photos and like videos, and like I even know how to do like a little bit of graphic design. So like it kind of just fit my personality. But one of the things that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to join another startup that was just going to be a burnout. That's just going to be like taking you like for all the hours you want. I wanted something that had a bit more of that meaning. And to me, it was the photography piece that I loved and combined it with that. But the part that sold me is the mission behind it. So, I mean, for the majority of people, you see Pexels or you see like any stock platform and they just free photos. But for them, like, or for us now, what we're trying to do is create positive impact through imagery. And to do that, you kind of have to think back of like, how much does imagery actually affect the world? Like, it has a huge amount of power. Like, it normalizes things, it changes culture. Like, so the way that we kind of try to do that is that like if you see imagery all over the places that you are, but it's only, I'm just going to go with the example of where you could see it before, like it's only white old man when you type business, or it's like when you type couple, it's only heterosexual couples, that kind of thing. That we started seeing that we're like, if we are able to show more of the other images and have people just normalize that and be like, oh, I wasn't thinking of like adding a same-sex couple to my blog or to my ad, but like it's there, I didn't have to search specifically for it. You just start normalizing the world and like normalizing diversity, you're empowering people to do that. And that's kind of when like they said that, I was like this is it. When you start with data, it's kind of what I was saying, like you really get to understand what is happening. And from there, like from what I've seen and like from the people that I've mentored, the people that I work with, people stop there. People stop at like the bounce rates there, so like the conversion rates this, but like they never tend to dig deeper into the why. And I was the person, like I literally like was like a conversion rate optimization focus where like I'm just going to change these things and like make it work, but I wasn't like really thinking of like truly what is it that like the person, what is it the problem we're solving for that person? What is his pain point? What are they feeling? You know what I mean? Like the essence of marketing becomes that communication of that pain point. If you don't do it well, you can be the best copywriter, if you don't know who your customer, it doesn't matter how good of a writer you are, you're never going to hit it on the nail. Even with like things like SEO, where people think like SEO is a thing like you don't need to think about the human, like it's just an algorithm. But that's a very short-sighted view of that, because like Google is not optimizing for the algorithm. Google's optimizing for people seeing value in it. So at the end of the day, like if what your thought process is like, how do I add the most value to that person through this, that's going to be able to give you that better piece of marketing. Like we don't even want to like think ourselves as like stock photography. We're like a library of like photos and videos that people can use and feel, going back to that like relatedness, like being related to people. So like whenever you see the images, you can feel like there's a little bit of you within them. So there's two pieces for that work that we've really focused on. One is the work with our community of contributors and how we not only find the right ones to help us acquire that kind of photography, but how do we like incentivize them to do that? So we have like a lot of challenges, like photo challenges that like they do, and like whoever wins like gets prizes. Like in December we have our biggest one, which is like it's over $15,000 worth of like prices. Like there's cruises. I mean, I know that like cruises are not a fun thing right now. We all want to just go back to traveling, but that incentivizes and gets people excited to shoot different things. And I think that a lot of them kind of see also the mission that we have, and they also want to be part of that. We are also launching in multiple markets to be able, like with contributors, photographers, to be able to get more photography from that culture and from that kind of people, to bring it into the platform, being able to show that to other people around the world. And again, like going back to that diversity, and again, it's partially finding like the good photographers too that like can execute on it. And then the secondary side of things, or not secondary, but like is the work that we've done on the algorithm side of things. Sadly, like algorithms are based on historical data, right? Like if you ask an algorithm right now to do something, like it is likely that it's going to be a little bit stereotypical. It's going to be a little bit prejudiced. Like I don't want to say racist, but like, I mean, like it's so much historical data that like if everyone's clicking on the image with, when you search for business and you're just clicking on the boardroom of white people, that's telling the algorithm like that's a bow to it. And like if people keep clicking on it, the more it gets up there, and the more it's up there, the more people will click it. Like it's just a vicious cycle. So what we've done is and continuously doing is actually introducing a human touch to the algorithm. So for all the search terms, we not only let the algorithm pick stuff, but our curation team actually goes and handpicks like a certain number of photos that get boosted into the algorithm to be showing that diversity, to be adding like that opportunity for those photos to be seen and be clicked on. And I don't have the data right now, but look, we did that last June for there was a whole focus on pride, and we did it for couple, we did it for like marriage, for like all these things, to be able to show like not just heterosexual couples, but like all kind of couples in there. And you could immediately see like a huge amount of downloads on those photos that were not getting downloaded before, because people had to search, I want a homosexual couple, to be display that. And now people have the option to like just be like, I want a couple. And then I see like beautiful photos of like people just loving each other. And then you can just pick whichever one speaks to your brand or speaks to yourself. But you don't have to think of like, oh, I have to go deeper into like refine my search and go homosexual couple, because the majority of people won't do it. And not because they're bad people, it's just not in their mind to like think about that. We're all busy. We're trying to like be not lazy, but like our brain is wired to like be as quick as we can and just get things done. So we're trying to facilitate that for people to be able to see more of that. We're running a challenge for IFA, which is the International Fund of Animal Welfare, to start helping them collect photos of animal and wildlife, and give them a platform for that. So like, again, like these kind of things, so we can help bring more photos like that to the platform that not only them can use, but like anyone who wants to talk about like conservation and like animal welfare can have those assets to just be like, I have them right there. I don't have to go shoot something. And by shooting, when I'm talking about animals, sound horrible, but like shooting in photography, just go and take the photo, not shooting the animals. So I should add that disclosure. we all know the importance of imagery. Like, I mean, like, it's much easier to understand a concept when you have a perfect copy matching like the perfect image. And I'm not saying like every time is going to be stock imagery. Like, a lot of the times you're going to have to find your own like kind of imagery and take the photos for it to be the perfect thing. But not everyone has the budget to do that. So like that's kind of where like photography, like stock photography, comes in to support that. I have run like I did a talk for a Teachable conference, and at the time we were launching a photography course. And I mean, very like high level, we ran an experiment of like the different type of images that you could use based on like very stock images from like other stocky, kind of like what you were saying before, like very stock images, to like kind of like pexel imagery, like on photography, to like a full like actually developed image video for that, like purposely shot for that. And you can see that obviously like the one that is like purposely shot for it is the one that performs the best, kind of like what you were expecting. But then you also see that like it wasn't that big of a difference between that one and the one that we have with like the higher quality stock imagery. So in terms of like, especially like I go back to the ads because it's probably the easiest one to do a test and like analyze quick. But if you're scrolling, if you think of your own behavior in Instagram, Facebook, I mean, I don't want to say TikTok because like I'm not too familiar with it, but like you're scrolling down at all times, and the first thing that you see is the image. If the image doesn't make you stop, it doesn't matter how good the copy is. You're never gonna like read it and perform the action. So I think that like I'm always like the type of marketer that when someone asks like what's better, this or that, or what's more important, this or that, the answer is always it depends on like the scenario. But I think the copy and imagery are married together. If you don't have the right imagery next to the copy, again, you're not going to stop people to read that. If they go to the landing page and then the landing page is just text, even though good copy is going to help you sell, if you pair that up with like the right imagery, it's 100% going to make it more meaningful. People are judgmental. People also like the way you see people, like that's how you kind of interpret them yourself. So like if you have a good brand, if you have good imagery, they're going to see you as a higher quality, more trustable entity or brand. So I think that also plays a role into that. I cannot take like the ownership of that because we have an amazing like BD person in our team. Like there's two of them that have been like grinding on getting all these partnerships. And honestly, like it has been 100% on them because we do have a big brand, but when it comes to the partnerships and APIs, there's another company sometimes people think more of. So we've been trying to get there with more of the brand efforts, which again, like not that we focus on like how do we get the brand out there like necessarily, but like for example, like the partnership with IFA is like a way that we see as branding without saying this is our brand. We're like doing as we're doing, people should notice like what's happening without us having to say like we're doing this for that. We're doing it for like a good reason. Like if people notice it, it's amazing. And like we've seen the value of those things. Like with the Pride campaign that we did last year, it was a similar thing. Like we were trying to like fix something our platform had. And we just communicated it, and like it went, I don't want to say it went viral, but like a lot of people saw it, a lot of people reacted to it, and like obviously you get the good thing and the bad things from that. Like people love and hate things. So that's kind of where my participation has been in there, is more like how do we help them with the brand side of things to make those conversations easier for them to have. Yeah, the topic with remote and leadership style, it really it makes you switch the way you kind of lead people. One of the interesting things that I'm actually going through, every time I've been in a leadership position before, I've been thrown into it because I'm good at what I do, not because I'm a great leader, right? I don't know if that's the scenario for everyone, but like for me, that's always been the case. Like you're good at it, go lead people. I'm like, I don't know how to lead people. Like it might be like nature, like be nice. But when I started with Pexels, the leadership side of things, they like, I don't know if you're aware, but like Pexels is owned by Canva. And Canva has a 4-month like program for like leadership. And even though they're actually like in an office, most of them, it's a little bit different, but like it really guides you on like how to better lead people. And that to me has been like, I mean, a lot of the stuff is very logical, but a lot of the stuff is like, oh, this is like just a good tidbit to like remember and like be like, this is great. But to answer like your question even more specifically, it's very different from like when you can go have coffee with someone or just go by their desk and try to see how they're feeling, how they're doing. When you're remote, you mostly talk through Slack or through like whatever communication method people use. You don't get the feeling of like, I'm sad, I'm depressed, or like I'm simply overwhelmed with work. A lot of times you don't get that. So there has to be a lot more of the checkpoints where like you as a leader have to come in and be like, are you doing okay? Like, you kind of have to notice a lot more things and become more empathetic with people, especially in the world that we live in right now, where like a lot of things are happening surrounding us. So it's not just like work. And I think Pexels has been great because like they also enable people to be able to take time off work and not be like, if you're feeling overwhelmed, sick, it's not that you have to be like just grinding it out. Like, how can we help you do that? So for sure, like the switch in leadership for me has been a bit of a switch. But in the previous startup that I was there before too, like I already had a remote team. Like I had a team in Mexico, so like I kind of had that kind of experience before. Well, one of the things that you don't get prepared for is like the time zone difference. Like I have people in Germany, US, Brazil. I mean, those are not too bad, but Germany is like 6 hours. And sometimes I have calls with people in like China or like Australia, and those become like my 10 p.m. and like they're fine. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy time. So it's definitely I don't want to say a struggle, but it's definitely like a bit of a friction there that you kind of have to learn to overcome and try to do your best on how to better manage those people and give them the best support that you can in the situation that they're in. All this Canva, when the acquisition happened, it was pretty organic. Like nothing changed for Pexels. It was just like you now own to like our umbrella of companies. You get the support that like all this tech stack that like Canva has, but keep doing what you're doing. So like the two founders and the COO, which were the ones who started Pexels together, they're still in the team, and they're still like super involved, and they still lead the whole company. So the culture, anything really hasn't changed. It has just enabled us to grow faster because like now we have bigger, like more resources to do things. And again, like for me, like the marketing stack, when I joined, I was like, what can I take advantage of? And I'm like jumping into all the analytics tools and like all the big enterprise tools that they can use. And like at a small startup, you normally wouldn't get that because like those are big contracts, and you have to be big to like get those. So I'm just trying to take advantage of all the marketing stack that they have to use it for Pexels. But like there's different situations where like there's different leadership styles, not just per person, but like you have people who are like very good at their job. They're the easiest to lead because like you kind of like go through the strategy together, they go action in it. But when there's hand holding and when there's someone with like experience, like it's much harder like as a leader because like one, it's the problem with like what is the curse of knowledge. You don't remember how like hard it was to like acquire that knowledge. So you expect people that like you tell them once and be like, you should now know how to do this. But like it takes years. Like, I mean, like we've been doing this for years. So like you kind of forget that that's part of it. And you might get like, I don't want to say impatient with it. Like, I mean, like you kind of have to learn how to like lead better to those people. And some people are better leading other, like some styles than others. So yeah, that's a really interesting point where like if you don't get taught that, like you're just going to lead every single person in the way that you think that you could be led, instead of finding the way that like it's the best thing for them and how to unblock them and motivate them, which is like probably one of the most important pieces of it.